불멸의 전사 2.
What's up? We're back. It's Tasteless and Wolf. And we're going to go into the second half of today's games. Now, we already had a fantastic series before. This one, though, this is going to be an uphill battle here for the Afreeca Freaks, for sure.
They have really had a tough season. They made it in the playoffs last round. And now here in round 2, they're -7 at 0-4. This is also KT Rolster's worst performance in recent memory. In fact, if they don't do well here, they'll actually be behind MVP. And that's a big story. I basically sang the praises of Jin Air for a long time. Even I personally feel they're stronger than SKT right now. They're on top of the world, but KT has really dropped down. However, they are insanely favored tonight, and most people are saying they might even take a 3-0.
Yeah, that's what I predicted. You know, this is just an all-star lineup. These guys are terrifying. Now, that being said, in one game, anything can happen. Best of 7, that's a different story, right? You can start downloading their, the way they're thinking, the way they're approaching the game. You start countering their play styles. But if the Afreeca Freaks have a couple aces up their sleeve, they could upset this. It is a possibility.
It is possible, man. Absolutely. Now, I mean, just to put this into perspective, currently, for the spring season, we have TY and Zest, our teammates in the GSL Finals. The Finals is what, on Sunday, I believe, like this weekend?
Saturday or Sunday, yeah.
And then Stats is one of the players, the fourth player playing tonight. 3 players in the season. 2 of them went to finals in GSL. We don't know who's going to win that finals yet. Stats was a finalist at Star League. So 3 players in this team, in this lineup tonight, that are like the best in individual leagues. They've been carrying these teams, this team as well, like Zest and Stats, especially for KT this season. In TY, like in most cases, also doing very well. When you look at the lineup of the Freaks, it's not weak, but by comparison,
Yeah, it's strong. You could definitely say that, but I think that I just can't imagine KT not taking this, man.
I think
when I look at this lineup and I say, well, maybe the weakest player out of these 4 guys is Leenock, I'm like, well, that feels weird to ever say the weakest player here is Leenock, but that's because TY's and Stats are so good. Now, Billowy, Patience, Super, Alive, these are all great players. Alive, especially at the start of Legacy, the Void was doing very, very well. However, against guys like this, I just don't see it. I want to be wrong, though.
If I have to give an overarching prediction of tonight, I feel like this match hinges on Super. He has to beat Leenock. It's the only match I feel where KT, you could say, is not favored. At least for me, I voted for Super. If Super wins that match and then Alive he's got some really smart build on Lerolak, Crest versus Stats, maybe they go to an ace match. These first 2 matches, though, Billowy is a great player. He all-killed in previous season. He was on MVP, and then he was on SKT, and now he finds himself on the Freaks. He's traveled through a lot of teams in Kespa here. He was a great player, but TY is the best Terran in the world right now. He's in the GSL Finals. It's going to take a crazy cheese or TY really making some very uncharacteristic mistakes for Billy to win this first match. I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you guys. Like, in a second, the stats are going to pop up. I'm not sure whether they're popping up, not popping up yet, but they're about to. You guys are going to see, like, just ready how favored TY is right now.
Well, I mean, TY, it's kind of, this was like in the prophecy, okay? TY started out very good, a very strong player, and now he's at the pinnacle.
It's his first finals in the GSL
that's
Finals.
Right. And
he's been playing Brood War for so long. I mean,
that's right. And even Starcraft 2 for an incredibly long period of time. And, it's finally, like we were talking about earlier, all the pieces are forming. He's been around for so long. And now it's his time. Billowy, I mean, this is going to be a tall order. Now, does Billowy do some kind of all-in or crazy cheese? I would if I were Billowy.
Yeah, the map's Dust Towers, so maybe you can find a way to make an Oracle play work, get ahead that way. The problem with cheesing TY is he's basically unbreakable, and that's one of his strengths.
Yeah,
he and Zest both, Like, you can't cheese him.
You look back at players like Hydra long ago, where anybody in a macro game is going to lose to Hydra. So what do? You got to cheese him. You don't play a macro game because he was breakable early on. In this case, TY is not like that. This guy is, and this is, of course, where we had players way back in Brood War, like Flash. Flash really did not lose to Cheese.
Nope.
It was, and for Terran especially in Brood War, you could fall apart pretty fast early on, and he just, it did not happen. This guy was going to the 15-minute marker every game.
I think one of the weaknesses of TY's play, it never usually gets there because he's like so smart and he always gets ahead to where this doesn't happen, is if you go even to like a long game. I'm talking like 20, 25 minutes a game.
Right.
Like, I think that's when TY sometimes doesn't show the best games. But like he always wins the early game, and he usually takes that advantage into the mid game, and he just beats you there. Like we don't go late game very much.
And also, he's a guy that has a wide range of builds. He doesn't just have that standard Terran macro style where eventually he out juggles you in tasks. He also has some very specific position and map oriented builds that he'll use. He'll pull him out. You might only see him use it once in Pro League or in a season of GSL. But he has that. He has that in his toolbox.
He's very famous for using siege tanks. His icon in Star League last year was the siege tank under a sun. His name, TY, his ID stands for Taeyong, which is his actual name. And he's called the sun and the light in Korea because he's like the macro Terran will never die.
He's the god of light.
He's the face of macro. But looking at his record,
the god of light shall burn you. The night is dark and full of terrors, Billowy.
The night is dark and full of TYs here.
That's right.
It's crazy to see, and I think it really showcases KT's weaknesses and like their lack of performance. It kind of tells a story of that with this TY as the best Terran in the world, and the player who's going up against Zest, his teammate in the GSL Finals, is at a negative record at 5-6. That's not characteristic, but he's been fielded 11 times. That's way more than Billowy. He's played against way harder opponents than Billowy. It's going to be hard to cheese TY here. Like, no matter which way you look at it, if you're predicting a Billowy win here, I think you're looking at the wrong info.
Yeah. Let's see though. Like we said. Okay, so this is no surprise here. Everybody, voting TY here. Vote of confidence there for him. But look, Billowy may have some build. If I'm Billowy, I got the weirdest build. That's all I've done the entire week. Is practice that one cheese that I'm only going to use once, and I'm hoping my teammates do the right thing and they have whatever they need to do to win prepared, because this is a serious Titan KT that they're taking on.
That they are. As we get into this first map, TY looks ready.
I'm ready. Are you ready, Wolf?
Hell yes.
And let's go into game number 1. Oh, we're not cool. Whatever. All right, in the bottom left, in the purple, it's Billowy. And in the upper right, in the red, it's TY.
TY, the god of holding off cheeses. He had the best record in the beginning of part of the Swarm versus Protoss. He was like 7-0 where in the TVP matchup at that time, TVP was like 7-25 or something. Like, he was the only one who was winning it, and he was winning like every match because he's just so good at stopping Blake Stalker all-ins and all the different cheeses. The Oracle builds we were seeing from Process in Heart of the Swarm. And when we go into Legacy of the Void, there's not as many Pross cheeses. Like, the cheeses that you could see are really similar. It's like we're not seeing Blink Stalker attacks anymore. We're seeing Adept attacks. He's like, no, I can hold that too. I've already figured it out. You make Siege Tanks a lot of time to hold off moves like that. He makes Liberators, to do the same sort of thing, because Liberators are kind of like a flying Siege Tank in a way. And he's just a really smart player that doesn't really get fooled by anything, and he doesn't cut corners. So that's I think that basically TY in a nutshell.
By the way, great opening here. He puts the depot down there, and then he comes back and builds it later. But this will lock the probe from coming in here. And that's some valuable intel that obviously a Protoss player would like to get in there and get. And this is already going to be a bit uncomfortable here for Billowy. Now, if you're at home wondering, should you do this? It really depends on what kind of player you are. But I know a lot of people like it, and it's certainly not a bad idea to ever lock your opponent out of intel. There are other people that would say, no, I want my SCVs mining more. I mean, there's different schools of thought. And
yeah, not everybody does
in
this.
truth, there's not really a right or wrong for which way you want to go. It depends on the play style you have.
Check this out, man. Billowy's got a plan.
Uh-oh. Did he
his
take
probe out
the
here.
advice of Sage Tasteless
I think so.
and say, you got to play real dirty if you're going to win this? Or is that just staying out there? I'm not sure. Now,
Yeah.
no, TY is going triple command center.
Yeah,
which
he
is
is.
like, actually, that is how you can lose to some cheese. So
I think he's just keeping the probe out there, actually, because he's got, I believe, 3 pylons at home. It looks like he might have had a plan to do something, but he's just going to hide that out there instead. He's not getting any intel of that 3rd CC either, so TY going to be safe with that for now. You know, in the past, for those of you guys who've been following since like the beginning of time, like Tasteless and I have for Korean Starcraft 2, Billowy used to have the ID Lure, and back in the day, he was like, every PvP he played, like it was an incredible stat, like he played like 9 PvPs in the beginning of his career. He was on OGS, the old team.
Old school, yeah.
He went like, he did cannon rushes in like 9 out of 9 PvPs he played and won like 7 of them. It's like, oh, he cannon rushes every PvP back then, and he still wins it. I don't know how he does it, but he does. He's just like so good at cheesing. He's one of the cheesiest players. He all killed.
Yeah, the problem when you do stuff like that, like let's say cannon rushing PvP, is you eventually have to know, well, this can't last.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is clearly not the way the game is going to look next year. So what I'm practicing, and there's various different kinds of cannon rushes in StarCraft 2, but the ones that we had back then, it was like, I mean, you know, we were back casting that, but I would look at it and be like, well, isn't this funny? Okay, but
OGS Inca, like cannon rush on the low ground on Metalopolis, and like
yeah, and it's like, huh? Well, that's cool. It's not like an SOS cannon rush where I'm like, well, this is perfect and this is totally fine and this can stay in the meta. But you look at it, and I'm like, well, I'm glad you're winning now, but I don't know if you're preparing yourself for the future.
Yeah, when you see some of those cannon rushes that like players like Inca would do, and even like Rexan Dark and stuff, like when you watch those cannon rushes,
rush like behind the main and the minerals, I'm like, well,
it's like, well, like remember the Zelnaga Caverns cannon rush you could do where you could make the pylon wall and just put a cannon in the middle of it in PvP? That kind of stuff, it works because no one had seen it yet.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, okay, he hit that for a few weeks and then he played it in the match, and he can never use that again though. It's figured out now. It's on TV.
Yeah, that's just when I see people do it, and I get why they're doing it in a match, but if you see them do it too many times, then you got to get worried, because surely it's like there's no future here.
Like Inca's DTs, it's like, well, I mean, you did this way too many times, man.
Yeah.
You're countered by your playstyle is countered by turrets. But looking at this game we're in right now, we do see a blink coming out from Billowy. Based on how he's doing it so far, it looks like it's just going to be used to hold his 3rd base. He's going to pressure a little bit with it. Like sometimes we see this pressure turn into real damage with the Warp Prism come out. Like you start picking off a few too many Marines, and then suddenly it's like, uh-oh, this can do some serious damage. But if he doesn't pressure much with this, like TY's already had a faster 3rd CC for a long time. And yeah, he made a bunker just to be safe. I don't think a lot of damage will be done by this, but let's see, because sometimes this does kind of get out of control if the Terran gets a bit too greedy.
Okay, so he's going to poke up here, and this is totally fine. This is just one way to punish a Terran player, especially if they went triple CC.
You repaired the wrong depot there.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, you're right. He did. Or he might have decided that he couldn't save that one, so he had to have SCVs come down here. But remember, if you go 3 command centers early on, you do not have a lot of gas. And if you don't have a lot of gas, you could definitely get punished with stalkers in positions like that, with the wallet on the ramp. So
look at this. He's adding 4 more gates, but he's getting 1-1 in glaives. So I think this is just going to be pressure into a follow-up attack. And
yeah,
if
he might hit him when the 3rd lands.
Yeah, and if he gets any damage done here, it makes the follow-up stronger.
So hit the destructible, or not, what is it?
The plate, I think it's
the plate. Is that what it's called? The unbuildable plate? Yeah.
Yeah. Look at this, by the way. 2 adepts down here. They can't 2-shot workers anymore on Terran.
It's important to note that the function of this is to keep Terran back and defending for as long as possible while you're gearing up. Your gates are going to be finishing here.
5 gates he's adding now, not just 4. I mean, he is really banking up a lot of money into these gateways. And even adding an Immortal right now. Good Blink Stalker Micro, just trying to harass any Marine he kills, makes the follow-up that much stronger, I mean, I know it sounds insignificant, but You do that 4, 5, 6 times, and hey, 6 less Marines. That's 300 mils worth of spent units gone from the fight. Every unit counts.
By the way, 1-1, so close to finishing up here.
And it times out with the glaives and the gateways.
Okay, now he's going to scan and see the gates.
And he immediately says, well,
yeah,
I'm not
like,
dropping this.
Yeah. He's like, back up, regroup. By the way, he's got Liberators here. That's very important. He's going to need that to defend.
Oh, it's going to help him kill this War Prism, or at least push it away. I think he actually will secure the kill.
This is the most not epic chase scene in StarCraft 2 history. Okay, he gets it.
He was like trying to go into phase mode, and guess what that means?
Wolfie,
that means no reinforcements.
I spy with my little eye a big-ass army on the Protoss side. He's coming across, but he might have overextended there a little bit.
Yeah, but this is TY spotting this move out, and he's so confident because there's no Warp Prism here, and he knows it. He killed it. And so TY is like, no, I'll meet you in the middle of the map, because if you keep moving forward, I'm eventually just going to have more stuff than you because I have reinforcements coming. You can't. You know, your Warp is going to take longer. They're going to have to walk across the map. Billy's kind of transitioned away from this. He starts 2-2, and he starts a 4th base, and he gets a Stargate. Yeah, well, if you look at the supplies, it's actually TY does have more muscle here. And if you note, a large chunk of Billowy's supply is in workers. He's got 7 and 3, whereas TY has 57. So actually, TY's army is pretty scary. Yeah, it's 25% larger, essentially, or 33% larger. Like, it's 100 to 75. And look at this. He's going to kill some Adepts here for free in the main base. Scans to kill the Observer.
Nice job.
And he's got Widow Mines in here. They can't be detected.
Oh my God. Taking a lot of damage, and the second mine hit's going to connect. Meanwhile, not mining over here in 2 locations due to the Liberators. I believe what Terran does from here is regroups,
hits
in the front, and I think it's the 3rd, but he can hit the 4th too.
Yeah, it looks like the units are at the 4th, so the 3rd might be a more viable option. Still a lot of Protoss here. There's got to be careful because, you know, a lot of his reinforcements were set back. Like, he only has half his army together, but the other half is about to join up. No, look at this. Just going to drop in the main again. Just going to find more damage here and keep peeling Billowy apart like an onion, basically. Or a banana, or whatever you want to peel. Oh, loses a drop there.
And did you say a banana or whatever you want to peel?
Yeah, whatever you want to peel, man.
He's warping in some more Stalkers. I mean, frankly, he's just in such a bad spot. Yeah, I think this is kind of the closer here. He's stimming. He's coming forward now. We have some warp-ins. Does he have enough? More reinforcements here from Terran.
Look at the zoning on the Liberators. It's so hard to engage for the Protoss. Plus the Widow Mines, like he can't really.
If he blinks under, then the Widow Mines blow up the Stalkers.
Exactly.
So there we go.
We're going to see this happen. Boom!
Yep.
You saw the future, okay?
I did.
And the future is not bright for this Protoss army. Even though he has a bigger army here, the reinforcements are going to join up. The Liberators, or rather these drops that were Liberators back there, are going to move back through. Looks like there's still Widow Mines in the main base, by the way. These 3 Stalkers are not going to be able to stop this from unloading. There's a scan to confirm it's safe. Oh, only drops 2 and is actually even going to hit the backdoor expansion as well.
Yeah, actually after seeing his warp, he might want to pick up and then go back to that original expansion.
That's exactly what he's going to do.
So he's going to go ahead and do that here.
Billowy's almost all in. He's going to move across the map with his army and try to find that counterattack damage. Oh no, he's turning around. He's being very indecisive here. TY scans to make sure that he's turning around. He's like, oh, you're not even committing this? Okay, fine. 2 fusion cores, man. That's how ahead he is right now. He's like making a turret. Oh, see you later, Observer. Cancel the 2nd fusion core. So
he's staying back right now. Now Billowy is beginning to restabilize, but TY is just looking in better form here overall.
Yeah.
And there's still, for instance, Widow Mines Broad. I think that's not even the only one. I think there's another one out in the middle of the map that army's walked over 2 or 3 times already.
He's just finding too much damage with these drops.
Yeah.
There's a Void Ray coming to help deal with this, but it's just so late. Oh, look, this is going to go off again. You know, killing a few more probes and even grabbing an Adept there. Like, the fusion core now done, he can actually get the advanced ballistics for his Liberators. It's going to make the Liberators stronger. He's got an economy to triple produce. So he's got 3 Liberators at a time coming out, going to bolster his army. And Billowy does not have the economy to make Tempest yet. He just doesn't. He's got 800 gas in the bank, but he's just trying to deal with these drops. But this is the weakness of TY to a certain extent. Like, when he gets ahead like this, he's never really that confident to move his army out on the map and attack. He always tries to be really careful. It's the Artosis way. He's like, I'll make a few sensor towers here, and I'm never going to attack you. I'm going to defend.
That's right. The Tosis, he does love that safe style of just staying back, not attacking. and maxing out.
Yeah, I mean, he's about to be maxed. He starts +3 attack. Billowy does have the upgrade lead right now, just for a little bit longer. His Liberator is basically a glorified scout. Okay, here's
a glorified hallucinated Phoenix, is what that was. Now we may have some fighting here in the middle of the map. Supply is slightly in the favor here of TY.
Yeah, he has a lot of Widow Mines, and of course those Liberators with his army. Blinking underneath this is just not an option. Oh, and this Liberator with the advanced ballistics is going to do so much here. And Billowy's forced to engage. It's going to be a tough one.
Well, I think for TY, he doesn't want to attack any further because he's actually got this in a really good position over here.
He's like, I dare you to commit to the shade. That one Immortal's not going to defend this Liberator either, which is now racking up 14 kills.
Yeah, now 15.
Finally the Void Race here.
And Terran can, if he wants, try to push forward, or he can be safe. It looks like he's going to push past the halfway marker on this map. So what he's going to do is he's going to bring the Liberators up here, and he's going to get, okay, he's got position. He just needs to set up the Liberation fields.
He's going to control the ramp, exactly. And now the Frost Army can't come and defend the space.
Yeah,
he just has to
now he goes to the third.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, tactically, he just outmaneuvered him completely. Got those Liberators in the right spot. And there's really no way for the Protoss Army to come down here. If the Protoss Army does come down, he loses that. So
he's going to try for it, but, he's going to lose it as you predicted. 50 supply down already. Too many Liberators here. And GG.
GG it is. Game number 1, not surprisingly, goes to TY.
Yeah, this may be the trend of tonight as Zest gives a chuckle as he sees his teammate, but also his enemy for the finals.
Yeah.
Takes that win. And, the funny thing is that TY plays today at TVP, which he will play against Zest.
I was about to remark on this.
It's like, Zest is like, oh, I can't wait to watch that VOD.
I got him downloaded. Yeah.
He's like, I play a PvP.
TY is like, I should probably play a little bit of a worse style. Maybe that's why he didn't go for 3 command centers in his upper right side of his base there, because that's not as common anymore.
Yeah.
And maybe he does that because Billowy certainly wouldn't expect it, but then Zest can't get any information there. Yeah. There's another little mini game going on here, folks.
And Zest is like, well, I just prepared a lot of PvP for Deer. I'm going to play against Patience, who Patience is massively inferior to Deer even, so he's like, already ready for the PvP. I'm not going to show up PvT tonight. Like, got you, boy. What's the thing the new kids are saying now? Fam? He's like, I got you, fam.
Got you, fam. That's right.
I don't know what that means, but people are saying it.
Family.
Yeah, but better people say it when it's not related to family in any way.
Well, I think it's cute, right? Yeah. It's like, what's up, fam? Like I see the other casters, they'd be like, what's up, fam?
Now maybe I'm just too old for this. I don't know.
I think you're just not cool, Wolf. I think
I'm like that fucking weird uncle guy who's like, hey, what is the kid say he's doing?
So you play video games, huh? So what do you just stare at the screen and hit buttons? That's not good for you. Then he turns on Fox News and watches that for 5 hours, and I'm like, well, I guess
is Jesus real in the
that
fire?
Uncle is stupid. Well, guys, we're going into game number 2. It's going to be Patience versus Zest. Same narrative, really, as what we had with Billowy versus TY.
And even more so, it's the same narrative as we had Zest versus Deer, which was a pure and utter domination. Deer just not even able to scratch the surface of Zest's PvP. And Patience is the new addition to the Afreeca Freaks.
That's right.
He was on Dead Pixels. I was struggling to remember that name for a while. A foreign team now, of course, switching back to Korea, as many foreign team players are doing because they can't actually get that exposure internationally. They're in this Korea gauntlet, the hardest region in the world, got even harder. And so Patience now back on a Pro League team. But, Zest, unstoppable right now. No one is knocking this guy out. He's went directly to the finals. He's got an incredible record in PvP, even more incredible record in the PvT matchup. So
sometimes we get to watch an epic match, and other times it's like, I've said this before, like watching a lion eat a gazelle. So we're going to see if it's going to be like that here tonight where, it might be some back and forth, or it's just instead Zest just blowing up and attacking and killing probes and wreaking havoc here on his opponent.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Patience has a plan. On King Stage on Station, 2-player map. A good map for proxies,
Use the
actually.
tasteless rule. What does tasteless do when he knows he can't beat the player because the player's better than him? Cheeses him.
Yep.
Okay?
Or
and
maybe even does the tasteless build.
They say, oh, well, you're lame. Let's go again. And I go, I'm retired. I am not playing you again. I'm done. So that's what you got to do. Will he do the tasteless strategy? Or will
I think so, man.
Will he try to win